Ironsi decided to embark on tour of Western Nigeria. Southwest. Not Western Nigeria. It was called Western Nigeria, not Southwest.
That's true.
So we went to Abeokuta.
Finally, this is a closure to what happened to General Aguiyi Ironsi on the 29th of July 1966. This is coming from his ADC, Sani Belo. Just watch and learn.
When we got to Ibadan on the 28th, Ironsi, Fajwi of course was there. Ironsi Fajwi.
The governor.
The governor. The governor was Fajwi. Adekunle Fajwi was the governor, a lieutenant colonel, a colonel. Then the 3 ADCs were there, myself, the Air Force ADC called Andrew Nwanko, lieutenant, and then the police ADC, who was a superintendent police, DSP, Timothy Pam. And there's one other person that was never mentioned in that group. That was Thomas Aguiyi Ironsi, Thomas Aguiyi Ironsi, his son, who was with us then. He came from UK on school holidays, so he was joining us for this tour. Now we went to Ibadan. The reason why we went to Ibadan was Ironsi was to address the Council of Emirs, Obas and Obis, all in Ibadan, and they assembled in Ibadan. The address was to take place on the 29th of July 1966. We were there. We were supposed to have a cocktail by 7:30 to 8. We sent an invitation for that. But in the last minute, the general said, no, we should change it to make it between 6 to 8. So we had a cocktail, 6 to 7. So we had the cocktail, everything went well, and we all retired.
For the night.
For the night.
This was after receiving the AMS and the chief?
No, not yet.
To this following day.
This is 28th, or 20th that night, the following one, 29th. The meeting of AMS of chief will be on 29th.
29th.
So we retired. Then by about 12 o'clock or 1, we started hearing something is happening. The general called called me to say, the Commissioner of Police, Lagos, called me to say there's a riot in Ikeja Barracks. Ikeja Barracks, Ikeja Cantonment. I told to tell Oga, so I called him.
On the intercom?
On the intercom. Tell him that later on, the Commissioner of Western Nigeria called to say there's an uprising. Oh, sorry, the one in Ikeja was mutiny, he said. Then later on, Commissioner of Western Nigeria, Commissioner of Police, Western Nigeria, called to say there's an uprising in Abeokuta. And with few casualties. I should tell the Supreme Commander. I told the Supreme Commander. But this time, he said, every one of us should be in uniform. We got into our uniform. About that time, something happened. Something extraordinary happened. There was after some time, there was a Land Rover coming in. So because they were facing, because the rooms of wherever they were sitting, the two guys were sitting, they could see the Land Rover coming in.
Yes.
So Fajwi called his ADC to say, Abi, go back, go and check, I saw a Land Rover coming in. Who is coming so late in the night? So he said, okay. So the three of us, Abi Umar asked me and Timothy Pham to escort him. So we escorted him. And as we were escorting him, there was a telephone ringing back. So he said we should go back to answer telephone. So we went back and allowed him to go because he was used to the house. We are guests. So as he left the house, after we separated, we were just going back to answer the phone. Then there were shots of submachine gun, one shot. Then there was a return fire of pistol, one shot. And we knew Abu Umar had a pistol in his pocket. And then there was a salvo of some machine gun. So
many shots.
too many shots, rapid. So we assumed Abu Umar was dead. So we said, oh, Abu Umar was killed, because we assumed he was the one. Then we went back. Of course, by now everybody knows something is happening.
Yes. Inside the government house.
Inside the government house. So we were there. Then then we said, after some time we thought, like, let's see whether we can see Abu Umar, in case he's not dead. Before he bled to death, if we can rescue him. We went out. I met one officer. He said, we said, we're looking for Abu Umar. He said, we have him. We have him? Go back. We said, okay. We went back. You know, the scene, I was like, by that time, I don't know anybody in Ibadan. So we went back. We have him. Did they kill him? Did they hold him? We don't know. After some time, Oga said, okay, let's get drivers.
So by then you're in touch with, you are together with Ironsi and Fajui in the same place?
In the same place.
Yes.
No, we don't see them, but we can talk to them.
You can talk to them.
Because we are separate wings.
Yes.
So after some time, Fajui said we should send for vehicles. We started sending orderly to bring vehicles. Unfortunately, government house, Ibadan, to me it was a very badly constructed house. All the services were outside the government house. You can't have a car, even one car from inside. You have to go outside.
Wow.
Going outside means you have to pass through the gate. That's the control gate. So we sent this orderly, never came back. We sent almost 2, 3. And then there was one Sergeant Bejo who was very loyal to Ironsi. A very old Sergeant Major, he had been with him. He said, he'll go in. I said, okay, Sergeant Major, go. So he went there, he never came back. Then finally, I decided to go. I said, I'm going myself to see what is happening. This was around 7 or so.
In the morning?
In the morning. And I was very unlucky. As I was going out reaching the gate, the police that were going to escort us to Mapo Hall, where the address of emirs or bis and abans will take place, were coming in as our escorts. So I presume, not that I'm sure, the coupists assumed that I called them to come and give us support, and I came to receive them. So they arrested them with all the dignitaries, like the press secretary, like Hamza Ahmadu, who was then, I don't know, I remember him, Hamza Ahmadu. They all arrested and pushed to the guard room.
So you were also arrested with them?
Yes, I was also arrested with them.
You look like as if you came to receive them.
Exactly. So I was arrested together with them and pushed to the guard room. It was when I got into the guard room, I knew what happened. Everybody that we sent was captured and detained there. That's why they never came back. So we were completely lost of any kind of information. In the guard room, we were there. We peeped through the window, we can see the window, the guard room. Then we saw T.Y. Danjuma and one officer, I can't remember his officer now. I can't remember this officer now. One other officer, younger officer, junior officer. To him, he might be a lieutenant. I think he was a lieutenant, then also lieutenant. They went to the house and brought Fajui and Ironsi. When they brought them out, they opened the guard room.
Guard room?
Yes.
Where you were?
Where we were. They asked them to enter the Land Rover, the 2 senior officers, and ask us, the military ADCs, 3 of us, to enter. That's making 5 of us in the Land Rover. We entered the Land Rover, 5 of us. And we had driven to God knows where. Later I was told along Owo Road.
In the bush?
In the bush. Not on the road. Now, one thing which I forgot. When we are having this crisis, before I was captured myself, I called a friend of mine. I was just coming back from Sunday, so I didn't know most of my classmates, their locations. But I knew one or two of them. One of them was late Ibrahim Umar. So I called him Lieutenant. He was in Abiquita. He was an Army Corps officer, a very good officer, a very good friend of mine, my classmate. So I called him. I said, Ibrahim, it's very hot in Ibadan. He said, it's hotter here. I said, hey. I said, it's very hot. I'm not likely to stay alive without shooting. He said, okay, Sani, why don't you, can you stay alive for the next 2 hours? I'll come with my armored vehicle to rescue you. I said, 2 hours, Ibrahim? It's too late. You won't meet me, I'll be dead. We drove some distance outside. In those days, there used to be a small forest along this Owo road on the left. Small forest on the left. So unfortunately, all the leaders of in that truck, on that convoy, were NCOs. Not one single officer. So suddenly, the staff officer took initiative. He was holding a machine gun. Not some machine gun, a machine gun. So he cocked and took a step back and put his hand on the trigger. I said, no, sir, here. He said, I said, no, sir. Let's go into the bush. Wow. So Sami saw the danger he was facing himself. So he said, okay, let's go to the bush. We were ushered inside the Land Rover again. And we drove. We drove for some time until we reached a level crossing. I still remember it vividly. Railway crossing, level. Then it was, I don't know whether it's flyover now. I think it's flyover now. When I reached there, we turned right into the bush, as was demanded by the staff sergeant. We drove for some distance. Well, I would say probably 2 kilometers, 1 kilometer, whatever it is. I can assure you I was too scared to remember what. But anyway, we drove for some distance and we stopped. As we are stopping, as God will have it, Lieutenant Dada, the adjutant of 4th Battalion, who I spoke to earlier on, was not able to locate Ngogoro. So he decided to come and see what was happening in Government House. You understand?
Yes.
So he came to the Government House. I've heard the Government House was empty. So he asked, what happened? I think somebody told him they followed Owo Road. So he decided to follow Owo Road and pursued us. So that stop which we had in a small forest gave him time to recover, to cover the distance. Just as we were landing in where we are stopping for the execution point, Dada was there. Then he said, Abi and the lecturer was the same intake, was the same course in military college. He said, Abi, Sani, Andrew, jump into my Land Rover. Of course, a major started murmuring of disregard of something, trying to disobey. But that was a very, very influential officer, very strong officer, adjutant. So he said, we should jump. He said, keep, specifically Dadas told them to our ears, keep these 2 senior officers here until I wait for the instruction. That's what he said. And he said, we should jump into the Land Rover. As we were jumping into the Land Rover, we had a machine gun fire. Dada rushed back. What happened, Sabijo? So he was trying to run away. And we shot him. Who was it? Fajwi. They killed Fajwi. One were there. We did not, I don't see the body, but we heard the shots. But they told Dada, they killed him. So he said, okay, keep this in our officer and wait for the instruction. Don't do anything until you hear from us. So they said, okay, sir. That's the last I heard of your answer.
What happened to Thomas Aguiyi Ironsi?
Good, that's a very good question. I told you Thomas was not left alone now. Thomas with a police cop, Timothy Pam, the other ADC.
Yes.
Timothy,
two of them were together.
Timothy, they were the only ones, now they are the only ones left in the house. So Timothy Pam, as he told me later on, he said, after everybody has gone and the place is quiet, no more sound at all, he realized there were only 2 left in the house. He said to Thomas, we are the only 2 left in the house. My duty left is to take you back to your mom. That's my duty. I'll take you back to your mother. But you will do what I tell you to do. He said, yes, sir. Timothy Palm, fortunately, he was a very experienced policeman. He served in CID, he served in SIB, I'm sure you remember SIB. So he was very experienced in all these covert operations. So he went to the town and brought this Fulani dress with hats, glasses. He took one, he gave Thomas one. He said, okay, let's go to the train station. I head for Lagos. He took him back to Lagos to his mom. And that was the end of the relationship then.